Thank you, Masood. Good afternoon, everybody. The purpose that I'll try to do is just to probably give an overview of the whole definition of a social contract. Social contracts have been the basis of how we construct society. Every couple of generations, our social contract evolved to better reflect our social norms and values. For our grandparents, being on time was crucial for someone to be trusted. To some extent, it reflects the sort of narrative in the industrial economy, because if someone were to be late, it would mean that there would be a stop in production. Technological changes first led to substitution of human and animal workforce for machines. Since the advent of advanced computers, we are now substituting human brain for advanced robots and algorithms. In the 20th century, liberalism was organized around three presumed pillars. Large corporate employees like Ford and General Motors had three things in common. There was internal pathways for employees for their upward mobility. There were unionized workforce that could collectively bargain on behalf of the entire community. And finally, a regulatory apparatus that was strong, that would oversee big business and organize labor. This triad was the essence of the social contract then. In exchange for full-time work, most families were assured of basic level of welfare, social insurance, and upward mobility. The problem is that this tripartite agreement might not exist now. In the 21st century, both the online and offline world, work is increasingly organized, not in large factories, but rather in highly disaggregated and fragmented workplace. Workers increasingly freelance, and regulations are being left far behind the pace of technological innovation and economic transformation. This practice is referred to by many economists as fissured workplace. Last year, about 400,000 drivers of Uber went for a class suit in the United States against the company on the fact that they were treated as contract laborers and not as employees. And they demanded back pay and benefits. A judge proposed a $100 million settlement, and he said that if you don't settle, the cost of a final settlement could be in excess of maybe 1,000 times more. So what is the challenge that we face in formulating new social contracts in this rapidly changing technological world? The main distributive tool that we had, that of prosperity trickling down from productivity to wage and labor, has ceased to function. And this is the biggest problem. The decoupling of productivity and wages is a fundamental reason for this structural imbalance. Wealth is being concentrated in the hands of a few who own platforms, robots, and algorithms. And those living off labor is struggling. This disenfranchised people are now beginning to constitute a new political class. They vote for more radicalized political options, and we saw that recently in Brexit, the victory of President Donald Trump, the rise of FNP in France, and this is basically due to this broad breakdown in trust. If wealth is concentrated in capital, some form of democratization of capital holding is absolutely necessary. So what does the future look like? Perhaps we have to be prepared now for new social structures and social contracts when technologies like blockchain and Bitcoin will become more ubiquitous. Blockchain will bring economics and technology together in a way society has never experienced before. Previous technologies like the internet allowed us to create openness and the exchange of information. Blockchain allows us to track and trace our interaction, economic transactions, and gives us power to disrupt aspects of our own social contract that we do not like. For example, removing the central bank as the creator of trust in our money. If you look at the internet, it was more an exchange of information. Blockchain will become the exchange of assets and values. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Toby. So I think that's very nice because you've given us some of the big changes, and I know that others in the panel might come back to some of the issues, particularly the one very important point that you raised about how the nature of employment is changing. And in fact, even the term employment may itself no longer be relevant in a future where more and more people are working in a different way. And I know that at one point, actually, Patrick might come back to that point.